you had?
The very first carpet I had, I purchased in university, and it was a machine-made 4 by 6 foot, so a meter and a few centimeters by about 2 meters, polypropylene rug. It was it was blue and red, very indicative of like a traditional Persian carpet. I think if I had to give it a design, it was probably a Kerman type of design. And I had it on the floor of my room in residence hall, and I was ironing one day and dropped my iron on it by accident, of course, and very quickly burnt the shape of an iron into it. And the rug stayed with me for a few years and eventually got discarded, both because it was burnt and it was not a durable product. And now many years later, I've kind of replicated the look of an iron burn in a contemporary carpet made of wool and silk, and just kind of reminds me of my beginnings in rugs before I even knew I would be working in rugs. When I started selling rugs, I worked in a show. I started part-time, and everything we were selling was very traditionally Persian, Iranian style carpets, and I didn't really care for them. Just aesthetically, it didn't resonate with my own personal style. And I considered seriously looking for a different line of work. And then this would have been the late 90s. We started carrying some contemporary lines, modern carpet designs. Specifically from Odegaard is one company that sticks out in my mind, but also from a handful of other manufacturers who all had started work in Nepal producing modern Tibetan weave carpets. And that technique of carpet making is really, still to this day, is my personal favorite. It's what speaks to me. As for specific design, I don't know that there's one in particular. Any of the small repetitive motifs, there were some beautiful fleur-de-lis designs that back when I thought everything needed to be French, I guess, that really stuck with me. There were a lot of kind of reproductions of traditional Persian designs, but adapted into the technique of Tibetan weaving, where the designs were simplified, the colors were made contemporary, and they weren't red and blue. And just that whole concept of adapting what we had to make it modern really is what stuck with me and made me really like and fall in love with the industry. Combined with the ability to make custom carpets and be able to make whatever the customer wanted, as opposed to saying, these are the carpets we have and please choose from them. Mm-hmm. Well, everything is modern in its time, is a great way to say that. By taking something that is familiar or the vernacular of one region, one part of the world, and transplanting it to a region where people are unfamiliar with either the design, the technique, even the way colors are combined and used, it can appear fresh and new, and as a consequence modern, just to the observer. It's not necessarily that any of these things are new, just it's merely a matter of context. And then consequently, as generations of people come and go, each new generation has not been exposed to so much of what has already existed. And on one hand, the older I become and I look back, and it had never occurred to me I would live long enough to live through the trends myself and see them come and go, but that is the nature of how we've built civilization to now. And not to be quite so broad, but going back to design, we always look to the past for inspiration. And I think the success of making new designs and making products that eventually define a trend is built upon looking at what we've done, seeing how we can improve upon it, and make it relevant for consumers of this period.